Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Today we have a showcase from FlyGonnaGetYou. So he has a team which could be possibly good, and we'll showcase how he wins in the Go Battle League. Let's get into it. We have Gyarados into Empoleon lead. We look to stay in, bank 9, and then swap Charge a Bug. We get the sneak, and then we can fire off the crunch before they make another move. We get the debuff, so they're forced to swap out. They bring in Togekiss. Our moveset is walled here, so we can't do much. But we should get a last second crunch off, and we get their shield. We bring in Gyarados, and we try to throw right before their move. We KO. Nope. We just about don't. And they get to fire off the Psyshock. We overfarm as much as we can. And we look to knock out the Togekiss. They bring in Empoleon. We overfarm like crazy. We fire off a crunch. We look to knock out the Empoleon. They have Confusion Crest, Celia. So what we're going to look to do is crunch and then dip into Marowak. Now, our Grass Knot doesn't KO from full, so we should be able to withstand and get the Bone Club off. GG's, thanks for playing. On to the next. We have Gyarados into Blastoise. Neutral lead. We do 2 and then swap in Charge a Bug. They bring in Torterra. We go for an X-Scissor. They look to no shield the first. We lose CMP, so we have to shield the first move. They Stone Edge us. We look to X-Scissor. We look to undercharge. They shield. We throw an X-Scissor again. They double shield. So at this point, we're just going to take 2 shield advantage. No, we're going to take a shield advantage. And get the full Dragon Breath down. They bring in Blastoise. They can't do much here since we have a lot of energy. We get the debuff with Crunch. And then we bring in Marowak. They bring in a Charizard that just dies to a boom Rock Slide. And we should be able to live this and make a Bone Club. So GG's, thanks for... On to the next. We have Charizard lead. Good lead. They're on Dragon Breath, so we have to swap out. They throw on Alignment, which is very peculiar. They bring in Gastro, that's fine. Charge a Bug can do fine into this. We look to fire off the next X-Scissor. They throw. Now we look to no shield and bring in Gyarados for farm. We can live a Body Slam pretty comfortably. We look to fire off a Aqua Tail. We look to shield the Air Cutter. And then we Aqua Tail again. And then we stay in, swap, and just about don't get the farm down. Now we are going to shield the Blast Burn. They bring in Cradilly. Is this winnable? We'll find out. We fire off the Bone Club. They throw an Alignment. I don't know if this KOs. It does. So now Gyarados, come on. Come on. This doesn't do enough. GG's. Next battle. We have Morpeko lead. That's a terrible lead, actually. And then we have Jellicent into a Charge a Bug. That is definitely a choice to bring in here. They look to shield up the first crunch. They surf. And then we crunch again. look to knock out the Jellicent. They bring in Corviknight. We look to X-Scissor the Corviknight. Interesting play. We crunch. We don't get a next Volt Switch off. We just sack the Gyarados at this point. They bring in Morpeko. We bring in our Marowak. And we can just Mud Slap them down. Or we can take Gyarados farm here. But yeah, we choose to Mud Slap down. They bring in Corviknight. We look to fire off a Rock Slide. Our Swift Clock is barely not up, but they throw on Alignment. We bring in Gyarados, and we just outpace. GG's, thanks for playing. On to the next. We have Gyarados into Empoleon once again. We look to do the same thing we did last time, but we aren't successful in catching. They bring in Altaria. Now, what could be in the back? Empoleon Altaria core is pretty strong. Really strong, actually. We look to dip back into Gyarados. We Aqua Tail before they make a move, but they shield. They Sky Attack, we just no shield, and then they bring in Empoleon. We look to shield the Gyarados since clocks are desynced. We look to crunch the Empoleon. They no shield. They bring in Dusclops. We just about don't make the crunch, so we're gonna have to give up a shield. We bring in the Turgibug, we make a crunch. They no shield. They're at 3. They're at the move. We bring in Marowak and figure out what they're gonna do. They Ice Punch immediately. They bring in Altaria. We have to Bone Club the Altaria and hope we can make a move against the Dusclops, but we can't. This is one Dragon Breath range, or does this KO through the shield? It doesn't. GG's, thanks for playing. On to the next. We have Gyarados into Charizard. Good lead. They're on Ember, so that's even better. They catch on Dusclops. For once, it's not us catching. So they farm up to 5, so they're one short from the Poltergeist. They look to throw a Shadow Punch. We no shield. We throw Crunch. It KOs them. They bring in Charizard. They now bring in a Kwak. And we just build up a million energy with Gyarados. Throw in Aqua Tail. They no shield. We probably can just commit to fast moves now. Yeah. They're on Ember, so we can just build up back to back. Throw back to back. Did we win CMP? No, they just KO'd. And then we bring in Kwak, we double shield. They Air Cutter bait. This could get dicey if they double Air Cutter. They make a move. Is this enough? It isn't. Okay. GG's, thanks for playing. On to the next. We got Gyarados into Fearow. Interesting lead. They stay in, and they look to Drill Peck. We overfarm quite a bit, actually, and then we throw in Aqua Tail. We do one swap Snake, and they Drill Peck. They ran Torterra. We look to fire off the X-Scissor. They look to go for the farm down, so they let us get to another X-Scissor that does massive damage. We have a shield advantage. We bring in Gyarados. We shield. They bring in Empoleon. We fire off a Crunch. And then we stay in, try to get an Aqua Tail, but we overtap. We try to get the farm down. We just don't get it. And that's GG's. Next battle. We've got Marowak lead, so that's a really good lead. They bring in Dusclops. We catch and sneak. They Shadow Punch. We do 2 and then Crunch immediately. They throw another Shadow Punch. They got debuffed, so they die to probably. We can probably just farm them down here, and that's what we look to do. They bring in Marowak. We look to fire off the first X-Scissor. We bank and then bring in Gyarados. Throw an Aqua Tail. They swap out into a Stunfisk. So we can do super effective damage with our Aqua Tails, but we no shield the next move, which is a Discharge, and we go for a Marowak farm. We can no shield the first Mud Bomb since it does nothing, and we can probably no shield the second too. Which we do. They still have Marowak left, so we need to get Mudslap, get it into Mudslap farm down range or into X-Scissor range. GG's, thanks for playing. Next battle. Azu lead. We have to stay in for a little bit because we're ABA to it. They bring in Basti into our Charjabug. Now this isn't looking too good, since we're being RPS'd already. We like to fire off the second Crunch. We look to no shield the next move. Now we go for K-Wack farm. Do we get the farm down? We do. That's a great farm down. They bring in Altaria. They do not want to take 2 Rock Slides, so they will have to give up a shield. We bring in Gyarados. We fire off a Crunch. This puts them into Rock Slide range or close to, after the Dragon Breath for sure. We look to no shield their Sky Attack. They bring in their Azu. We look to fire off as many Aqua Tails as we can. We no shield their Ice Beam. We bring in K-Wack. We shield. And we're gonna go Bone Club. Now we're gonna have to watch out for a catch at some point. So what we should do is farm down here. Yep. And we might need a bait, maybe not. No, we do not. GG's, thanks for playing. Rock Slide number 1 and Rock Slide number 2. And 1 Mudslap does the trick. Final battle. We have a Dunsparce lead. Wow. So we swap in Charjabug. They look to bring in a Altaria after throwing a Rock Slide. We get the debuff with a Crunch, which is really nice. We look to fire off another Crunch. Do we get 2? We do get 2 more fast moves, so that's really nice. We no-shield the Sky Attack since we're non-shadow. We bring in Marowak into their Dunsparce. They bring in Scizor into our Marowak. We look to shield and hopefully get a shield and Mudslap down. Or Mudslap down. That's also an option. So Dunsparce is at least 1 away from a move. So what we're going to do is 1 and then catch. We call it the drill run. We look to Aqua Tail here. And now we're gonna we get their shield, we get another Aquatail off, and now they're in one move range from K-Wax, so that's GG's. Thanks for playing. All in all, thanks for the submission. I really appreciate it. If you have any more you want to submit, if anyone else wants to submit, go ahead. I'll post my Gmail in the description, but for now, thanks for watching. See you later. Peace.